just won't clean them. We'll throw them away. Yoga this morning. I feel like a pretzel.
Yeah, just put it in the, out on the line and in the fresh air.
I think what we should do with that one
Or have such. Stephanie says, I heard your voice was a little as if I had.
Okay. I can't shout any louder than that. So.
I was thinking you saying chiffon. Oh, that's chiffon. I've got food in my mouth.
I got water now, which I didn't have before, so I think you better know this. We're going to be looking at heads up. Don't make her shout. I can't shout. We are going to be looking at the fifth movement of I Rise. And we're going to be looking at the end of the fifth movement. I think this is the last bit of notes we have not yet read. So would you please turn to page 48, I believe it is. Yeah. So, I just want to talk you off the ledge of what this looks like, basically. So, it looks kind of like when we get to this spot, like all hell breaks loose, but it really doesn't. It really doesn't. So let's just try to let's make a little bit of sense of it. First of all, you see that we've been in four parts all this time, with the exception of the fourth movement, which has those equal parts. I think it's 5 or whatever. But now we're in 8 parts, right? But you remain only in 4 parts. I think I've mentioned this before. So all parts that have an A after them, that will be the Worcester people will be singing. And even so, there's not as much divisi as it looks like. If you flip ahead to page 53 at letter Q, all those parts just come back together to just the regular 4 parts. So at one measure before Q, you'll see, even though she continues to write it out in 8 parts, from there to the end, it's really just 4 parts. So we really only have the 8 parts really only go from essentially letter N on page 48 for several pages. And because there's not that much music on each page, it's really not that much time that we're in 8 parts. And you'll notice that, well, we'll get there when we get there. All right, so we're going to hopefully, in the next 20 minutes or so, we're going to kind of make our way through this last section, starting with pick up to that, which is your very last note on 47. The tempo is staying the same. Remember that up until now we've been in 2, so even though it looks like 4, we're going to be 1, 2, rise, I rise. That's still our same tempo. Nothing changes. So let's take a look at, and here again, altos I'm going to alto 2s I'm going to be singling you out again, because right away, look at letter N. You can see you are doing something different there at letter N on that page, right? So let's hear what everybody who's not an alto 2 from the last measure of 47. 1, 2, 1. And 1. kind of doing that over and over again, that same I rise. Now, but let's see what's going to happen here. Starting at letter N on page 48, the alto twos, the Cantilena alto twos are going to sing something different from that. You're going to be bringing back in that music from the second movement phenomenally, right? So let's take the alto twos. This is your very last note of page 48, phenomenally. 1, 2. And 1, 2, 1, and 2. And 1, 2, off, and. So then you're going to be kind of repeating that, all right? So let's see if we can do that. And you'll see that it'll break off, and other parts will also bring back some music from the earlier sections. We'll get to that in a second. But let's just do everybody, including the alto twos this time, from the bottom of 47, last measure, and then alto twos, you're going to get ready at N for your different music. 1, 2, 1. You're also going to be echoed by the Worcester alto twos, are also singing that phenomenally, but a little bit after you, so you'll be prepared for that. Now, look, alto ones, this is why I wanted you to sing that higher note in the warm-up. So you're going to have from alto ones, let's go on page, what page is this? 49. It's in the middle of the music. It's kind of hard to see here. But you're going to go from measure 176 of that I rise in the middle of page 49. You find it? Okay, so then, but keep your finger there and then flip to the next page and then see what's happening there. You're going to have that posterior, which comes from the fourth movement. Okay? So here we go. Alto ones, measure 176. 1. 2, 2, 2, 3, off. Pause. And off, and. And same thing that the alto twos have, then that's going to continue. Let's do that again just so we get the transition from the I rise to the posterior. All right, so this is back to page 49, third measure, measure 176. And 1. 1, 2, 2, 2, 3, off. Great. All right, so let's see if we can do all of those I rising with the altos doing their phenomenally and now adding in the alto ones doing posterior. Meanwhile, soprano ones and twos, you're just going to be rising. Okay? Here we go. Back to that same spot. Last measure 47. 1, 2, 1. 2, 3, and off. 1, talking to the soprano ones about how to prepare that, right? How to open, how to use a tall vowel. So now, normally you can kind of ignore that, but not on this one. You gotta use all those tricks. Now, see what's next going to happen. The soprano twos are going to break off with a reference to music from the third movement. All right, so let's take a look at just that. Soprano twos, this is page 51, second measure. 1, 2, and 1. And 1. Yeah, so making sure that we're moving through that continents, cross oceans and continents. All right, let's do that one more time. Where you first begin that phrase at 185 and 1. That I said we're going to all kind of come back together. So soprano ones, you just keep on rising. You don't get to sing a quote from an earlier part. I'm sorry about that. It's kind of, don't you think that's kind of cool how she does that? How she kind of reminds us of the beginning, the other movements of the piece. I think that's a really, really interesting way of kind of bringing this all together. All right, let's go back to. Let's shortcut a little bit back to letter N, one bar before N. This is on page 48. Let's see if we can get those three parts going. Meanwhile, the sopranos are just up there on the F sharp. At least you'll have compatriots from the Worcester chorus as well. And 1. up to once going back to that spot on page 50, one measure before O. We're starting with the alto ones. This time alto 2 is do your phenomenally. That comes after that. Okay? You see where I am?
Yes.
All right, so this is everybody singing except the soprano ones. 1 and 2. So you just have to count, and even when we get into the thick of this, I will be not able to cue anybody. I will not be able to. All I am doing is keeping the time going so that everybody doesn't get lost. So you have to take the responsibility to know how many beats from when you stop singing till when you come back in. All right? Right now I can cue you, I can help you, but when we're in the thick of it, no, can't help you. All right. Okay, let's go back. I really want to get to, actually let's jump ahead. Let's get to the end of all of this, crossing oceans and phenomenally. And let's jump ahead to page 53 to I Rise and pick up one bar before Q. So now you're back to together. And 1. This is different order, right? It's finally a new note there, so watch there. Just play it, would you, so they can hear? Okay, it's a little different. Here we go. And 1, 2, 3, and off. 47 to the end. Shall we try that? Okay. Count like crazy. You only have to count to 2, so how hard can it be? Here we go. And 1, 2, 3, off. But I'd love to get up to it and I'd love to just get up to it and start it so we can see how that comes out of what was before. Promise, soprano. So let's jump back to letter K on page 44. This is also to serve as a little bit of review of what the early part of this program. My water bottle in the car overnight, so so here we go, right at leaving behind. 1, 2, 1. Leaving behind. 148, top of 46. You just didn't hold gifts long enough, I think, was the problem. One, and bring the gifts that my ancestors gave. Because you hear the sopranos moving on, but you don't move with them, right? Let's put that with the sopranos at 1 after L, the previous page. 2, and look at it very quickly. The first page only. Just a quick cheat look. I just want to see how we did. All right. Look at it. Let's see. No, you. Mostly I wanted. It's the words. Okay. So no looking. Look down. Even if you didn't realize you were supposed to do homework. See how much of it you know. All right. If you didn't memorize it or you don't even remember how this goes, then you can listen or you can join in a little bit as it comes to you. Here we go. 2 verses, we have the same thing. So let's look right there at pick up to 12. So with your music in hand, all right, we're going to sing that, and you're gonna kind of, as we're singing it, I want you to imagine either. Sometimes people like to imagine a picture, an image in your mind that helps you remember what the words are, or maybe it's a rhyming scheme. Lots of different ways to memorize things, but as we're going through it, besides just singing it and watching the notes go by, think about a strategy that you'll remember those words. 2, 3. It's not my nature or my teaching. and when you're not looking at your music, that's going to be harder. Luckily, we have this really great new technology to help you with that, and that's that we have a conductor who stands up in front and gives you that. So you don't have to. If you watch, you hopefully will see that. Yeah.
So, no, this isn't free, Barbara. I happen to be in the middle, and I happen to be sitting next to two people that are on the.
All right, switch around if you're.
Can people just raise their hand if they're in the middle, just so I know where I'm listening? Okay, that's.
I think if you just switch with EB or scoot up here, then you'll be amidst.
This just helps me know if I'm going to
Yeah,
get my ears.
yeah.
That's all.
All right. So one thing that struck me as we just did that, if this were me, I will tell you, I'm not good at memorizing. But for me, I have to go to the important words. So I would probably think this is warrior, nature, teaching, womanhood. I would probably kind of pull out those words, and then the little words kind of fill in themselves if I remember that. So with that in mind, all right, what I want you to do is just quickly look at that again with your eyes, and then I want you to close your book. You can keep your hand in so we can come back. All right? So now let me just do it. And 3. Nature, teaching, womanhood. See, so if you can think of those key words. Now let's work our way back, and maybe we can sort of find some strategies to remember this. So I think the first thing that's easy to remember is we have this progression in these verses from I was a shy and lonely girl, and then next we were a lost and angry youth, and then it was a whatever. Yeah. So if we kind of know what those beginning points are, that will help us, and it may be that will flow. So a shy and lonely girl is walking around. She's looking at the sky because she's shy and lonely. So you kind of if you have a little story in your head, that might help you. All right. So let's sing the first 2 phrases with your looking at your music. This time, the first 2 phrases: shy and lonely girl, heavens in her eyes. In my eyes, but you know what I'm talking about. And 3. The heavens. Right, so close your book, do it without the. And now, since you have your book closed, you can watch me and get the dynamic, which is much softer. And then what is she doing? While she's looking up in the heavens, she's walking along the lane, and she's hearing the echoes of her cries. Right? This is definitely sort of the beginning. Let's sing, and as I walked along the lane, I heard the echoes of her cries, I cannot fight. We'll sing all of that while looking at you. And 3. Yeah, that's coming right up. 2 things about this phrase. You're carrying through on cries to I, which you're doing really nicely. I cannot fight. That's coming right up. All right, with your music one last time, and as I walk, 2, and. So you don't need to look. It's not my nature, nor my teaching. things like blending and all that stuff. But see, now we have the first verse memorized. So just like I said for the Why I Pity, reinforce that with practice on your own, because I don't know if we'll do this next week, we may or we may not, but and we're definitely not doing it the week after that, so if you wait till 3 weeks from now, you may not remember that. So, and I would love for you to add to that the second verse. Okay? All right. Great work tonight, folks. And I hope I will be less froggy next week when I